Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm getting back to Metallica. The last Metallica episode I did, I'm kind of making my way through their whole catalog. The last one I did, it must have been about 5 months ago. Maybe it was in November last year. I don't know. But if I'm doing them in order, which I think I am, this is after this one. Death Magnetic with a little bonus if I remember to do Beyond Magnetic. There's two more after this. So today I'm going to do Death Magnetic, and this has potential to be one of the longest episodes I've ever done, just because I have so much to say about it, or it's going to be the one that I'm going to forget to say more things. I always forget to say some things in episodes about albums that I really like, or that really have a lot to say about. I feel like I have more to say about this album than I do any of the other episodes I've done. This is episode 215 or 220, 225, somewhere around there. And I really have a lot to say about this album. Almost all good. I almost feel like I should have taken notes for this album just to remind myself, not because I'm incredibly familiar with this album, and I don't need notes like I did in the last episode I did Rolling Stones Undercover, but just because I have so much to say about this record. But I thought like it would be cheating if I took notes for Death Magnetic. So I will start to talk about it now. First of all, I will start by saying I love, it can't be stated strongly enough how much I love Death Magnetic. This reminds me a little bit of 2 episodes ago I did Rat Detonator. Now it doesn't sound like Rat, nothing like that, but just in the fact that it's kind of an overlooked album. Maybe not. I think both Detonator and Death Magnetic are not thought, highly in their respective catalogs. Maybe because, they're kind of late in each of those bands' career. And so that's where the Rat and Metallica comparison stops. But oh my God, do I ever love Death Magnetic. So where do I begin with this one? This came out after Saint Anger, and I did Saint Anger, as I said, some months ago, 5 or 6 months ago, whenever it was. And I like that, I think, better than most people. I thought it wasn't a great album, but at least it was a step in the right direction. It was Metallica being heavy again, angry again, metal again, whatever you want to say. Mama, make America metal again, or make Metallica metal again. Make Metallica metal again. MMMA. And it so kind of led to Death Magnetic. To me, this is exactly what Metallica should have been at the time. I don't know what to say. Again, I have so much to say. It's not my favorite Metallica album, but aside from the first 4, I would even put this up with the first 4. I really can't say how much I love this album. So getting back to this, there were high expectations for this because it had been pretty much predetermined that everybody had decided that Saint Anger was going to suck. They were coming off the Napster thing. They were coming off 2 very questionable studio albums, not including Garage Inc., which was maybe the first step back into how we like Metallica. And I think they finally, for me, they got everything right in this record. So when this record came out, or when it was being recorded or produced or hyped, I remember a couple of things about it. One, this is kind of early on, this is in 2007 or 2008, pretty early in the social media game, and they had this thing called Mission Metallica, Metallica, and it was like now every band does that, but I think back then it was kind of new. They did this little video series of, I think it was them in the studio, or maybe it was just audio clips, I can't remember, but they were, little clips of some of the songs or the riffs or the ideas from this record. And you shouldn't judge anything based on such small samples, but I did, and I thought, this sounds great. I love the way it sounds. I love the riffs. It just sounded like how I wanted Metallica to sound. That's one thing I remember. I also remember when they announced the record, I can't remember if this was after it was recorded or when they were going into the studio, but they made an announcement on social media, and it said, our new Metallica, our new record, blah, blah, blah. And they said all the things they wanted to say about it. And at the end, they said something along the lines of, they made a big deal that Rick Rubin produced it. So it was like at the end it said something along the lines of, oh, did we mention that Rick Rubin produced it? You know, really drawing attention to the fact that Rick Rubin produced it. And, you know, people get very excited about producers. If there's, you know, if Fleming Rasmussen produced the next Metallica record that's going to come out in about 14 years or something, people would go, oh my God, it's going to be incredible because Fleming Rasmussen produced it. And I know that name, Fleming Rasmussen, because he produced or co-produced and Justice for All and Master of Puppets, and his name is on those records, and those records are great. So if his name is on those records and his name is on this record, it's got to be great. And so Rick Rubin, you know, he had, you know, reputation back then being the guy that I guess classic bands went to when they were kind of going back to their roots, I think, for a lot of bands. Not including, I don't know, maybe Johnny Cash, I don't know. But they really made a big deal out of the fact that Rick Rubin was producing. I think some people love that. Probably some people hated it. People love to hate everything. So that's what I remember about this record. And it didn't disappoint. Now, it's not perfect. There are a couple of, I think, a few flaws with it, which I will get to as I talk about the album. Again, there's so many little things I want to talk about, and I don't know where to go. I'll say, in case I don't remember them when I get to the track by track, this is, this for me, I'm a huge Lars Ulrich fan. I think Lars is a great drummer. He was at one point, whether he is now or not, is maybe debatable. Whether he is a great drummer live or not is also debatable. But man, the drums on Metallica records, I would even say starting with Kill 'Em All. But probably, I think the one where the drums really shot was Justice for All. This is a great. I love the drumming on this record. The sound of the drums, the playing, Lars's fills, everything like that. Amazing drum record. Also great Kirk Hammett record. Kirk's leads on, or solos on, and I would try to do these as I do the track by track, but I don't know if I'll remember. At least on That Was Just Your Life. What else? For sure, My Apocalypse. I think Cyanide, maybe one or two other songs are, to me, the best solos. Put those against any solos, you know, from the classic Metallica records. I love Kirk Hammett's solos on this record. And this Metallica album also, for me, has the best riffs since. You know, we love to do this, you know, comparing records and eras and things like that. Best everything since Justice for All. I think if this album had come out in place of the Black Album, people would have been very, very happy about it. But the Black Album came out and people were not happy. But yeah, oh man, Death Magnetic, it's just incredible. Incredible album. I love it so much. I feel like I still have more to say. But then I think, I got to get to the track by track. Let me see if there's anything. Now, one thing I can say, this cover fucking sucks. Metallica album covers fucking blow. Starting with, you know, again, going back to Justice for All is a great cover. Black Album, you know, at least it was suitable, I think. I don't know if it was a great cover, but at least it was suitable. After that, Load sucked, Reload sucked. Garage Inc., it was a covers album, so it's just a photo of them. It was okay, but doesn't count. Saint Anger, I think, was not as bad as most people think. This one sucks. Hardwire sucked. I love the cover of 72 Seasons when it first came out, just because I like the black and the yellow combination, because I'm such a big Stryper fan. I thought that was really cool. It was obviously a tribute to Stryper. But in retrospect, maybe that album cover is not the best. This is one of the worst Metallica albums. It looks like Metallica albums. It looks like a hairy vagina, or a big bush, something like that. Or maybe, I don't know what it looks like, but this album cover fucking sucks. Terrible. But it is, and now that I'm holding it in my hand, it is a weird, you know, Metallica always, they do things, whether they like it or not, they do things their way. And this is a weird cover. It's the only, or weird packaging. It's, the corners are rounded, you know, on other CDs, like, and there's Death Magnetic, the covers were square and pointy. This one the corners are rounded. So that was one thing. Also, this is kind of strange. As far as I know, this is the only record I have, or CD in CD format, that the album, the Metallica Death Magnetic thing, it's actually a sticker. It's not printed on the booklet. It's a sticker that's printed on the jewel case. So if you lose the jewel case, or if you break it, I guess you're fucked. My friend Jason Satterfield would have a massive coronary if that ever happened to him. Can you see? See what I mean? So it's a sticker on the jewel case. The actual shitty record cover just looks like that. It looks even worse when you don't have Metallica Death Magnetic over it. So terrible album cover, and weird kind of artsy fartsy pictures inside, but great band photo. I think there's just one. Is there one band photo? Yeah, just one. It's this one. And it's it's a small thing, but you do, despite what people think, you do listen with your eyes as well as your ears, and you make you predetermine things. You have prejudices. You prejudge things sometimes with your eyes. And just looking at this, I think, you know what? They're wearing leather jackets again. They kind of look cool again. Take that for what it's worth, but all of that packaged along with the music, maybe it got into my subconscious. I will say something about this record that kind of a little bit inspired me to talk about it today. One is just that I didn't really have anything prepared, and this is a pretty easy one for me to talk about because I'm very, very, very familiar with it. But also, I watched a video the other day of another guy, a YouTuber who does similar videos to me, and I've heard him talk about this record before, and he calls it Death Pathetic. And he's an old guy. He's older than me, and he calls this album Death Pathetic. And he says this album sounds like millionaires playing thrash metal, which I think is a ridiculous thing to say because there is no such sound as, you can say thrash metal, you can say black metal, death metal, power metal, glam metal, pop metal, industrial metal, whatever you like, okay. But the genre of millionaires playing thrash, it does not exist. So this album does not sound like millionaires playing thrash. It's something that this guy, or maybe other people, created because Metallica are millionaires and they're playing thrash metal, and for some reason you put those together, you mash them together, and you came up with this genre that apparently maybe only one band is in, and that's Metallica, which is millionaires playing thrash metal. To me, it is a return to form. For years people had been saying, I want Metallica to be thrash again. I got into Metallica and Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Justice for All, Master of Puppets, got those out of order. I got into Metallica at that point, and they were thrash metal, and I want them to go back to that. I don't want them to be, pop metal, which is just ridiculous to think Metallica was pop, or hard rock or whatever. And so people, were kind of clamoring for this. And then when they do thrash metal, people go, they're trying too hard. It sounds too forced. Well, I don't know, what do you want? I think this album sounds great. It doesn't sound forced. I'm not sure what that sounds like, or what that means. I guess to me, this is just what Metallica came up with. And for me, it sounds great. All right. So I guess I can get to the track by track now. And God, it's going to be so hard to remember what I want to say about each song. Because I feel like I could almost do this as like a, people love these reaction videos. And I would like to sit down and this is a 72 or 74, 75 minute album, and just listen to it and pause it and, talk about every little microscopic detail, because I could really go into detail about this, and I know I'm going to forget. But that video would end up being 3 hours too long, and even for me, that's a little bit too long. So I will do what I can. So this begins with That Was Just Your Life, and I love that title. When I first heard or saw that they had a song called That Was Just Your Life, I thought, that sounds great. And I like the song titles on this. And again, it's a small thing. You shouldn't judge on song titles, but it does kind of lift you up and you say, that's a cool song title. That's what their song is called? I don't like that. Hopefully it doesn't determine whether you actually like the song or not, but it does plant a seed. And also the album being called Death Magnetic. It was great to hear Metallica sing about death again, and hearing these song titles that had to do, they were, kind of dark sounding, different than, I don't know, The House That Jack Built, or I don't know. What else was on Load and Reload? The Fixer. I don't know what the hell The Fixer is. But hearing song titles like That Was Just Your Life and The End of the Line, is that like the end of your life, the end of the line, and Broken, Beaten, Scarred? Great song titles. So, getting to this, That Was Just Your Life. Oh man, I love this song. And again, before I forget to say it, or if I forget to say it, the first 4 songs on Death Magnetic, which are That Was Just Your Life, The End of the Line, Broken, Beaten, and Scarred, and The Day That Never Comes, I would put those up against any 4 the first 4 songs of any Metallica album, which, Kill 'Em All is Hit the Lights, Four Horsemen, Motel Breath, and Jump in the Fire. I think that's the order. Ride the Lightning is Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Fade to Black. Master of Puppets was Battery, Master of Puppets. The Thing That Should Not Be in Welcome Home, parentheses, Sanitarium. Justice for All was Blackened, and Justice for All, was it Eye of the Beholder that was next? And One is the 5th song. Can't remember. These 4 songs on, the opening 4 songs on this album are perfect. If you take them put them as a mini EP, I would put these 4 against any of those other ones that I mentioned. I love that That Was Just Your Life begins with, it sounds like it's a heartbeat, similar to Coma, Guns N' Roses, and then it kind of morphs into, when the guitar comes in, it morphs into, that's kind of the drum beat, the kick kind of driving the song. And it's got this really cool, Metallica hadn't done a song like this since, I guess Metallica had never done a song like this, but the previous album's Frantic was the first song on Saint Anger, and that was fast out of the gate, energetic. Before that was Reload again. Reload, I think. Fuel was the first song on Reload. Again, out of the gate, fast. Load was the first song on Load. Ain't My Bitch. This is the first Metallica song really that had kind of like a build up to it. Master of Puppet or Justice had the Blackened, which was kind of that loopy, weird kind of backwards guitar, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. Master of Puppets had the acoustic introduction, a battery. Fight Fire with Fire had the acoustic introduction. So it was great hearing this kind of build up, this kind of really kind of dark sounding, not creepy. What's the word for the beginning of That Was Just Your Life? It's kind of quiet, but it is kind of dark sounding, maybe a little bit. I'm not saying it sounds like them, but a little bit Alice in Chains-ish, something like that. And then it bursts in, dun, 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 and then that riff, that opening riff that comes in, the fast riff. This is really the first thrash Metallica song since I don't know when. You could argue that Saint Anger was a little bit thrashy, but Reload was definitely not. Load was definitely not. The Black Album was definitely not. So arguably, this is the first real Metallica thrash song since Blackened. Well, Dyer's Eve, let's say. First opening thrashy song since Blackened. And then that riff, and then it goes into the drums come in, it's fast, and then it becomes thrashy. And what a joy it was to hear James Hetfield spitting and barking out the vocals again. And what's the opening line of That Was Just Your Life? Like a siren in my head that always threatens to repeat, like a blind man that is strapped into the speeding driver's seat, like a face that learns to speak when all it knew was how to bite. Dun, 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 dun. Like a release from a prison that I didn't know I was in. Oh, like a misery that keeps me focused though I've gone astray. Like an endless nightmare that I must awaken from each day. Like conviction, a premonition not worthy of, so I deny. And it goes fast and it's double bass, and then that I don't know if it's the chorus or the pre-chorus comes in. It's got that, it slows down. It's that heavy guitar. I blind my eyes. I blind my eyes and try to force it all into place. I stitch them up, see not my fall from grace. It's just so great hearing Hetfield sing like that and the riff that's going behind it. I blind my eyes, I had and feel, and passing me by. I open just in time to see. I open just in time to say goodbye. Almost like your life, almost like your endless fight. Curse the day is long. Realize you don't belong. Realize you don't belong. Disconnect somehow. Never stop the bleeding now. Almost like your fight. There it went. Almost like your life. Amazing song. In that middle section, the kind of, I guess it's like the bridge. And then, it gets like double time. That's Metallica. If you don't like this album and you're an old Metallica fan, there's something wrong with you. You've got that attitude, I think, that, this is rich Metallica. This is millionaire Metallica. I don't like them anymore. That was just your life. And, the way it ends, too, it's just, that was just your life. Not quite vocals only, but Hetfield just sounds so, it's the first time he sounded like that for, again, I don't know how far you want to go back, but oh my God, that was just your life. Is just incredible, top Metallica song. And I don't even know if it's my favorite song on this record. All right, next is That Was Just Your Life. Now, I remember when I first heard this, and I still think of this every time I listen to it, which is often. The kind of the groove part of That Was Just Your Life. First of all, it's got kind of, there's a lot of, it's not really, this is a weird song. And the next one, Broken Beat and Scarred, is kind of like this too. It's got this weird, I think, this weird timing to it. A little bit of, not stop and start like Soundgarden did, and I wish I had the musical aptitude to say, or to describe what I think about this song. But it's got these little kind of chicanes, these little pauses that are, they're kind of like a herky-jerky motion. And also the drum comes in, the drums come in. And then how can I explain this? The drum, the snare that comes in the intro, for me, doesn't sound, it sounds kind of out of place. It sounds like it's against the beat. It sounds like it's just off a little bit. And the first, I don't know how many times I listened to this song, I couldn't get the rhythm of it right, but I loved it. But anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, this is terrible. That kind of groove part of the song, totally reminded me of Even Flow by Pearl Jam. And even now, when I listen to this record twice today, I still can hear Pearl Jam. It's not to me as obvious as it was when I first heard it, but and I love again the vocal delivery of this. This is just, I love that Hetfield's just barking or spitting out the lyrics. And the lyrics are just, it's kind of words. It's just kind of words that kind of, I guess, sound good together. He's not really, singing lines. He's just barking out lyrics. Need, more and more, tainted misery, bleed, battle scars, chemical affinity, stain, rot away. God, it's so hard to do this when you're just speaking rather than listening to the music. The lyrics are all out of order. Yeah, need more and more, tainted misery, bleed, battle scars, chemical affinity, reign, legacy, innocence, corrode, stain, rot away, catatonic overload, choke, asphyxia, snuff reality, scorch, kill the light, incinerate, celebrity, reaper, butchery, karma amputee, that's fucking awesome, karma amputee, bloodline, redefine, death contagious deity, hooked into this deceiver, need more and more. Into the endless fever, need more and more. New consequence machine, you burn through all your gasoline. Asylum overtime, never mind, you've reached the end of the line. Time, choke the clock, steal another day. Die, faithfully, narcissistic, fade away. Twisted, jump, did I get it right? Yeah, twisted, jump the rail, shatter the crowd below. Breaka! Chase the ghost from latest high to all-time low. And Godzilla Motor Company have a great song called All Time Low. You should go listen to Godzilla Motor Company. Yeah, great. And then there's a great vocal in this too. Again, I'm trying to get very, very specific. Then the song kind of stops, slows down. It's very quiet, and there's a great Hetfield vocal that starts with kind of a little bit more melodic. Drop the hourglass of time. Drop the hourglass of time. Spilling sand we will not find. As we gather here today, we bid farewell. The slave becomes the master. And then it kind of builds, and the slave becomes the master. I'm not going to sing it. Well, I already did, but poorly. The slave becomes the master, and it builds up in intensity. You've reached the end of the line. Incredible song. Maybe this is even better than That Was Just Your Life. And then the next song is maybe even better. Now, this is Broken, Beat, and Scarred. Now, I have to say, this was speaking of lines or words, that just sound cool together. Butchery, Karma Amputee. I will say that Broken, Beat, and Scarred is butchery of the English language, and it did bother me this much when I first started. I thought broken, beat, and scarred. It should be broken, past participle of the verb break, and then it's beat. It should be beaten, the past participle of the verb beat. No, broken, beaten, scarred, but it's broken, beat, and scarred. I think it's with an ampersand, isn't it? Broken, beat, and scarred. Yes, it is an ampersand. Comma after broken, beat, and scarred. That did bother me just a little bit. And then, oh my God, this egregious misuse of the English language. What don't kill you makes you, no, what don't kill you make you more strong. Shame on you, James Hetfield, but holy fuck, does it ever sound good in a song. What don't kill you make you more strong. And this song has I love the intro. It's so heavy, that kind of grinding. I don't have the words. Speaking of butchering the English language, that's what I'm doing now. That intro to it, and I feel like this song should have been, or should now be. I think after they did this tour, I think they pretty much never played that song again. Maybe they played it once or twice over the years, but I feel like this should have been a song that, became a real Metallica staple. It could have been it's a little bit anthemic. What don't kill you make me more strong. We die hard. You can kind of hear the crowd. We die hard. But it never caught on. But oh my God, Broken, Beat, and Scarred is just incredible. Weird solo in this song. It's kind of a loud, weird, noisy. It kind of reminds me of a Yannick Gers guitar solo. It's just, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a great way. As I said, this is one of my favorite Kirk Hammett albums. But this solo is very, very different than Kirk Hammett. I think his solos are usually quite melodic, and they kind of fit the song. This one's just kind of, I don't know, noisy. I do love it though. But Broken, Beat, and Scarred, incredible song. And next is The Day That Never Comes. Now, this was the first song that was released from Death Magnetic or Death Pathetic. I won't say that again. And so after I had heard the, all these little clips from the Mission : Metallica little series that they did, and I heard all these great riffs, I thought, oh, this is going to be the Metallica album that I've been hoping for a long time. And then the first song, they were back to being thrash and back to metal, and then they released The Day That Never Comes, and I have to say I was pretty disappointed. I thought this is like it's not ballad, it's not ballad, but I thought, yeah, I was expecting a lot more from Metallica, and I thought this is the first song that they're giving us is The Day That Never Comes. It's kind of quiet, but that didn't last long, because after I heard it, I don't know how many times, 2, 3, 4 times, I love it. As I said, it's the fourth of the first 4 songs, which I would put up against any 4. And a couple of things about this song. This is one that Metallica haters love to find little things to give Metallica shit for. With Saint Anger, it was frantic. People made fun of my lifestyle determines my death style. In Metallica hating world, that's like the biggest insult or the biggest laugh that people got. And I thought, what's wrong with that? My lifestyle determines my death style. If he had been singing that on Justice for All or Master of Puppets, people wouldn't have said anything, but because it was Metallica in 2003, and they were still angry with Metallica for Napster and everything, and for getting, haircuts 8 years prior, they hated My Lifestyle Determines My Death Style. And I remember what people gave a lot of shit on The Day That Never Comes is the line, love's a 4-letter word. People were just like losing their minds over how awful that was. I have no problem with love is a 4-letter word. As a lyric, it fits the song great. I don't know what these people are thinking other than they need something to get angry about. And that part of the song is also where the song really, really gets, quite heavy. And this song is very much in the vein of one, Welcome Home, parentheses, Sanitarium, Fade to Black. Starts quiet. It doesn't start acoustic like Fade to Black, but it does start quiet. And it is kind of a mellow song. And then it does, as Paul Stanley says, now it gets rough in the middle of it, and it's got that great groove to it. Love is a 4-letter word, that part. And never spoken here. Love is a 4-letter word. Here in this prison, I suffer this no longer. I put an end to this I swear, the sun will shine. I think The Day That Never Comes is an amazing, amazing, amazing song. I love it. Next is, can I get it right? Is it All Nightmare Long? Yeah, All Nightmare Long is number 5. Now, this is the first sign of a little bit of a chink in the armor. Don't think of it that way. It's a chink in the armor. That's a real expression. I remember when I first heard this song, and maybe the first several times I heard it, it's the first sign that it's too long. And this album is too long. As I said, I think this album is at least 70 minutes, maybe 75, 76 minutes. It's far too long. So when I heard All Nightmare Long, I don't know how long it takes for the vocals to come in after the song starts. It must be about 2 minutes. They have all these, a lot of bands in songs have kind of false endings. Well, I think that All Nightmare Long kind of has some false beginnings. They have these musical pieces that maybe they'd had them written, but they couldn't figure out what to do with them. So they just kind of, put them all over. And I do like that kind of rolling, the beginning of All Nightmare Long, that kind of quiet guitar and the kind of a little bit quiet drums, and then da 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 da. But then it goes to the next part, and then it goes for 20, 30 seconds, then it goes to the next part. And I remember thinking, are the vocals ever going to come in? It just felt like forever. It felt like it took forever for the vocals to come in. And what was the other song that I felt recently about? Something that I did recently, and I forgot to mention that it took too long for the vocals to come in. It wasn't Metallica. Anyway, so yeah, I think All Nightmare Long is an excellent song, but it could be shortened, I think, by, I don't know, a minute and a half maybe. Just too long. But it is fast and heavy and a little bit thrashy again. What's the opening line of All Nightmare Long? Luck runs out. Crawl from the wreckage one more time. Horrific memory, twist the mind. Dark, rutted, cold, and hard to turn. Path of destruction, feel it burn. Still life, incarnation. Still life, infamy, hallucination. Heresy, still you run. And then the chorus has kind of a double time. Hunt you down without mercy. Hunt you down all nightmare long. Feel us breathe upon your face. Great vocal and great song. Mostly great song. Next is Cyanide next? Yes, Cyanide is next. This is one also that I recognized when I first heard this record. There were clips that they were using in the Mission: Metallica series that some parts of Cyanide were taken it. Love Cyanide. This song does not need to be shorter. The song is perfect how it is. I don't think I like it as much as the first four songs, but I think Cyanide is a great song, and it's one that, along with The Day That Never Comes, has sustained itself in Metallica's live set. Even now, they play those songs regularly on their most recent tour, and their tour is starting again. Is it end of April or end of May? I don't remember. And I would think they're still going to continue to play them. I wish they would play, End of the Line, but that was Just Your Life or something. But yeah, Cyanide, great song, love it. It's got that's a good song live too. It's very it's a real fist banger. Excellent song, Cyanide. Next is The Unforgiven 3. Now this is the next part the next song that for me brings the album down a little bit. I don't know if we needed an Unforgiven 3, and this song it is out of place on this record. It just doesn't fit in right. It's got the cool piano intro. I do like that, and it's long too. It's how long is 7:47. And it does have that, that I don't think it sounds at all like The Unforgiven 1 or 2. This is what is The Unforgiven 3? What's the what's the chorus or the part that I should know from The Unforgiven 3? These lyrics are all out of order in the book. Yeah, how can I blame you? How can I blame you when it's me I can't forgive? Forgive me not. It's okay. But for sure, my least favorite on the album. I think this album would have been stronger without Unforgiven 3. That's what I think. Next is the Judas Kiss. Now, continuing in that, Judas Kiss, I do like that song, but similar to All Nightmare Long, the intro is just a little bit too long. They have the it doesn't take as long to get into the vocals as All Nightmare Long did, but I feel like that the song should have started. I shouldn't say should have started. For me, the song would have been preferable if it had started with the part everything that came before that, which is maybe 40 seconds, 30, 40, 45 seconds, somewhere around there. To me, unnecessary. Again, it feels to me like it was just a separate piece of music that they didn't know what to do with, and they just tacked it on to the beginning of the Judas Kiss. But I do like the Judas Kiss. It's just a little bit unnecessarily long. Some songs are long, but they shouldn't be shorter. Judas Kiss, for me, it's a little bit long. And for me, it would be better if it were a little bit shorter. Just compact everything. Next is Suicide and Redemption? Yeah, Suicide and Redemption. You may know that I'm not the biggest fan of instrumentals. And Suicide and Redemption, I think, is their longest one. It's the longest song on the record. It's 10:02 of instrumental. And this, again, it just kind of drags the album down a little bit. Although I have to say, and this is the first instrumental Metallica had done since To Live Is To Die, which was maybe around 9.5 minutes, something like that. They did bass solo take 1, Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth. You can't really count that, but they had these kind of long epic instrumentals with Call of Cthulhu, Orion, and To Live Is To Die, and this was the next one in that series. You know what? This might be my favorite. Maybe this or Orion. I definitely like this better than Call of Cthulhu, and I like it, Suicide and Redemption. I like it better than Call of Cthulhu, and I like it better than To Live Is To Die. It's pretty close. That and Orion for me are very, very close. So, I think a 10-minute and 2-minute instrumental was unnecessary, but since it's on there, and as far as these long instrumentals go, I do like it. I'm not sure if it was necessary on the record, but again, it's there, so that's what I think. And then the last song is My Apocalypse. I can remember very well the first time I heard this song, I was smiling. I seriously, I remember I was listening to it by myself and heard it, and as it went on, I started to smile thinking, this is like the greatest Metallica song I've ever heard. This is how I want. Forget about that was just your, don't forget about, but that was just your life. End of the Line, Broken, Beat, and Scarred. The Day That Never Comes. Yes, those are great, great songs. The best maybe 4-song stretch on any Metallica record, especially the first 4. But oh my God, when I heard My Apocalypse, it's fast, furious, it's thrash. It's not Millionaires playing thrash, it's Metallica playing thrash. And I loved everything about it. Nothing to change about this song. Amazing. It's got all these great little parts to it. This is another one that Kirk's solo one of my favorite Kirk Hammett solos ever. I don't have a list, but just when I hear the songs, like, oh yeah, I love that solo. And when I hear My Apocalypse, oh man, I love that solo. And let me, claustrophobic, the lyrics are claustrophobic, crawl out of this skin, heart explosive, reach in, pull that pin, fear thy name, extermination, desecrate, inhale the fire. So we cross that line. Oh, it's into the grips. I thought it was we cross that line into the grips. I thought it was something else. Total eclipse, suffer unto my apocalypse. Deadly vision, prophecy reveal. Death magnetic, pulling closer still. Fear thy name, annihilation, desolate, inhale the fire. Inhale the fire. This is really, really James Hetfield. I think it is best. And then this middle part, this is pure thrash metal, the riff. If you know the song, you know the riff that goes over this part. This is pure metal. And I can never memorize this. I know the rhythm of it, but I can never memorize the lyrics, so I have to read it. Crushing metal, ripping skin. This sounds like Slayer. Crushing metal, ripping skin, tossing body mannequin, spilling blood, bleeding gas, mangle flesh, snapping spine, dripping bloody valentine, shatter face, spitting glass, split apart, spit it out, and then into that great Kirk Hammett solo. Isn't that total Slayer? And this again is like end of the line, just Hetfield just barking out these words. These are not lines, they're not complete sentences, there's no verbs. Well, there are, but they're used kind of more like as commands. I gotta read it again. Crushing metal, ripping skin, tossing body mannequin, spilling blood, bleeding gas, mangle flesh, snapping spine, dripping bloody valentine, shatter face, spitting gas, spit it out. Solo. And then again, it gets faster after solo. What makes me drift a little bit closer? Dead man takes the steering wheel. What makes me know it's time to cross over? Born to repeat it until I feel. See through the skin, the bones they all rattle. Future and past they disagree. Flesh falls away, bones they all shatter. I start to see the end in me. Claustrophobic, crawl out or climb out of that skin. Hard. Forget about that. I'm getting too excited. My Apocalypse is just, and I think it took them a while to play it on this tour. I think they played a lot of shows before they got to do My Apocalypse. But that's it. Now I will talk briefly about Beyond Magnetic. Here it is. Here, I don't have too much to say about this one. I am incredibly happy that they did this, as opposed to putting these 4 songs. It's Hate Train, Just a Bullet Away. I'm very, very familiar with Death Magnetic, but Beyond Magnetic, not so much. Hate Train, one of the worst Metallica song titles ever. That's a stupid. If another band did it, that's okay, but for Metallica, that's not so weird. Just a Bullet Away. Hell and Back, also kind of a cliche title there. And Revel of Babylon. And a lot of these riffs, or a lot of these songs, the riffs in them were on the Mission Metallica. Because when I heard Death Magnetic, I thought, I remember the riffs, but I didn't hear it in any of these songs. So they put it on this. Now, this is a great example of why EPs are great. If these 4 songs on Beyond Magnetic had been on Death Magnetic would have been, 100 minutes? Would have been far too long, would have been a double record. I think this is what happened with Hardwired Ellipses to Self-Destruct, which I'll talk about at some point. I think that suffers from that. Metallica's records are long in the first place. This is what Metallica should do. Maybe they could have even taken one song from Death Magnetic and added it to Beyond Magnetic. But I don't think these songs are. I don't know if any of these songs are as good as even my least favorite on Death Magnetic. So I think an excellent choice to say, you know what, these songs, we're gonna, because I think Metallica didn't really have extra songs whenever they did albums before. Whatever they had, they put on the record. Great move, I think, by Metallica, or whoever was in charge of, whoever made that decision, to lead them off and then satisfy people a year and a half later. Hey, you know what? We've got 4 more songs for you. All right, so that's it. And I'm sure I forgot lots of little details to say. But really, just like with Detonator, I can't say strongly enough how much I love Death Magnetic. And I also feel like, and nobody's going to listen to me or my instructions or my commands, but just like with Detonator, if you were into Rat and then by the time Detonator came out, you thought, Rat, Detonator, I'm over them. If you were like this with Metallica, by the time Death Magnetic came out, I'm not saying you're gonna like it, because if you thought it sucked then, maybe you will still think it sucks now. But I think a lot of people didn't give it a fair shake, just like a lot of people didn't give Rat Detonator a fair shake. But oh my God, I love, love, love this record. Yeah, I feel like there's more to say, but I can't think of what it is. So I will end it by saying thank you for watching. I don't know how long this episode was. I guess it must be around, this is like 40 minutes, 35 minutes. I don't know. But that's all for Metallica, the great, great comeback album, if you want to call it that. This is Death Magnetic.